Hey, it's Tristan here with Guitar by Ear. Today I'll be going over Ghost by Justin Bieber, using the same proven method that I've been using with my private students for years. If you're interested in becoming a better guitar player and a better musician, stick around for the whole lesson. Otherwise, feel free to stick around for the tuning and skip ahead to the chord reveal at the end. Thanks for watching. First, let's go over the tuning for this song. We're going to be basically in standard tuning, so we'll have an E on string 6, an A on string 5, a D on string 4, a G on string 3, and a B on string 2. But then on string 1, instead of having an E, which would be matched to the 5th fret of the 2nd string, we're going to have a D, which would be matched to the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So you can play that 3rd fret on your 2nd string and loosen that 1st string down until it sounds the same as this note. Or you can use a chromatic tuner, either from an app or a clip-on tuner, to double check that your 1st string is now loosened down to a D. I'm going to start right in now with the verse of the song. We'll go back and do the intro later on. The first bass note for the verse can be found on string 5. That's your 2nd biggest string, and it sounds like this. Use your 1st finger to take a guess at where that note is. Now, if your note sounds a little too energetic, you might be a little too far to the right, and you need to move to the left towards the head of the guitar. If your note sounds a little too lazy compared to my note, you might need to move it a little bit more to the right to find this note. You can pause and rewind until you find it. And now I'll reveal that that bass note is on the 2nd fret. So that's a B. The next bass note is on string 6, and it sounds like this. Same thing, take a guess. Move in the direction you think you need to move to find that note. Rewind it if you need to. And that bass note is on the 3rd fret, and that's a G. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it changes on beat 4. The next bass note is on string 4. Sounds like this. Take a guess at where that one might be. There's a good chance you might have guessed a little too far to the right, in which case you can move to the left. And that one is the open 4th string, so that is a D. So far we have B, 2, 3, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3. And then on beat 4 of that 3rd measure, we are going to go to this bass note on string 5. And that is the open 5th string, so that's an A. So we've got B, 2, 3, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, A, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that repeats over and over again for the verses of the tune. And now let's build the chords on top of those bass notes. So let's go back to that first bass note, to the B. That should be played with the pointer finger, and then on the 4th string, we're going to use your ring finger to locate this note. Take your guess, adjust accordingly. By the way, when you hear a very ugly clashing sound like this, that actually means you're right next to the right answer, so don't give up. That means you either need to move one more fret to the left or one more fret to the right, and you'll be perfect. So there's our bass note, that'll be with the pointer finger, and this note is going to be with the ring finger, and it is on the 4th fret. That's a power chord right now. Then on the 3rd string, we're going to have this note. You might need to let go of those other 2 notes for a moment to find it. Pause if you need to find it. That one's on the 2nd fret, and that will be played with the pointer finger being flattened by barring with the pointer finger. So we have pointer finger, ring finger, pointer finger again, flattening across that 3rd string. And then on the 2nd string, we're going to have the following note. Give yourself a second to find it. And that note will be played with the 2nd finger, the middle finger. So we have pointer, ring, pointer barring, and then middle. And I'm not strumming string 1 or string 6. I'm actually muting string 6 with the tip of my pointer finger here, and the flat part of my finger is playing string 5 and string 3. And that chord is a B minor 7 chord. 1, 2, 3, then on beat 4 we're going to switch to that new bass note. String 6 has that middle finger on it, on that G bass note. String 5 is going to be muted. by the middle finger just being a little lazy, just draping over that 5th string just the tiniest bit. Then the 4th string is going to be this note. Give yourself a chance to find that. That is the open 4th string. Then on the 3rd string, we're going to have this note. Give yourself a chance to find that. That's on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. All right, so we have middle finger on string 6, muted on string 5, open on string 4, pointer on string 3, and then on string 2, we're going to have this note with the ring finger, and that's on the 3rd fret. And then we will have the open 2nd string, which is just doubling the same note that you're already playing on the 2nd string. That's a G add 9 chord. Make sure to keep string 5 muted. So we have B minor 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, G add 9, and that holds out for the rest of the next measure, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're gonna go to that D bass note on the open 4th string. That's our next bass note. And we're going to have the following note on string 3. That will be with the pointer finger on the 2nd fret. Then we're going to have the following note on string 2. That is on the 3rd fret, and you can use your ring finger or your middle finger for that one, whichever one's more comfortable for you. So far that's just a D power chord. Normally in a regular D chord, we put our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. But because we're tuned down a whole step on that 1st string, we need to compensate by moving that note up to the 4th fret. So we're going to use the pinky on the 4th fret of the 1st string to get our D major chord. And I'm not strumming string 5 or string 6 on this chord. I'm just controlling my pick to only strum the first 4 strings. All right, so we've got B minor 7, 2, 3, G add 9, 2, 3, 4. We've got D major, using that pinky on the 4th fret to compensate for the 1st string being tuned down. And then the last bass note was our open 5th string. And then on string 4, we're gonna have this note. You might notice that sounds like a power chord, right? Sounds familiar? That is the pointer finger on the 4th string, forming an open A power chord. Then on string 3, we'll have the following note with the middle finger. That's on the 2nd fret. And then on the 2nd string, we'll have the following note. Sounds like a major chord now, right? Sounds bright. And I'm playing that with my ring finger. And that's also on the 2nd fret. And then we're going to have the open 1st string again. And this is actually the main reason that I tuned that 1st string down to a D, is to be able to get this chord in the song. This is an A add 11. So it's an A major chord with a D added on top of it with that open 1st string. It's got a great shimmery sound to it with a little bit of tension in there. And I'm strumming everything except for string 6. So far, B minor 7, G add 9, then we get D major with the pinky, and then A add 11, and then that whole thing starts over again. All right. That's going to happen during the intro after the pickup notes, and then it's going to happen 3 times in a row, that whole pattern during the verse. It's a little unusual. I kind of expected it to be 4 times through, but instead it's only 3 times through and gets us to that pre-chorus a little bit sooner. Now we're on to the pre-chorus, so we'll learn the new bass notes. The first bass note on the pre-chorus is going to be on string 6. That note probably sounds pretty familiar, right? And that is our open 6th string. The next bass note is also on string 6. Sounds just a little bit higher than that first bass note, right? And this one is on the 2nd fret. That's an F sharp. The next bass note is also on string 6, and it's going to be... Notice how close that sounds to the last bass note. We were on F sharp, and now we're on... Pretty close, right? That's on the 3rd fret, that's a G. So we have E, F sharp, G. And the rhythm of that is going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. We'll do that again. We've got 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're changing to that F sharp on the and of 2 and changing to the G on the downbeat of 4 and holding it through the next measure. After that, we're going to repeat that G bass note for another beat and a half. So 1 and 2, and then on the and of 2, we're going to change to this bass note on string 5. That may sound familiar to you from earlier in the song. Keep in mind, most songs repeat a lot of the same bass notes and a lot of the same chords, even throughout the different sections. And that is on string 5 on the 2nd fret, and I'm using my pointer finger for that. So we've got G and 2, and I'm on a B. G and 2 and 3. And then on beat 4 of that measure, we're going to go to this bass note on string 5. Also should sound familiar from earlier in the song. And that is the open A string. So we've got G and 2 and B, A. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put the bass line of this whole section out of the pre-chorus. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now let's put the chords to those bass notes for the pre-chorus. So on the first bass note, we had the open E string. And then on the 5th string, we're going to have this note. I'm using my pointer finger, and that is on the 2nd fret. So we've got an E power chord. Then on the 4th string, I have this note. Still sounds like a power chord, right? But with an extra octave on there. That's because that note is on the 2nd fret of string 4. And I'm using my middle finger for that. Then on the 3rd string, we'll have the following note. Now the chord sounds pretty dark, right? It doesn't sound like an E major chord. It sounds dark. And that's because that is the open 3rd string. So it's turning it into an E minor chord. So on the 2nd string, we're going to have the following note. And you can use either your ring or your pinky for that. And that gives us an E minor 7 chord, and you can leave the 1st string open, just doubling up that 7. And then we're going to go to our next chord. So we'll have the bass note on the F sharp on string 6 on the 2nd fret. And then string 5 is going to be muted by the pointer finger. You could technically leave string 5 open, but it will sound pretty muddy. So I like to mute string 5 with the pointer finger. And then string 4 will be open. And then on the 3rd string, we'll have the following note. Give yourself a chance to find that. That's with the middle finger, and that is on the 2nd fret of string 3. And then on string 2, we'll have the following note. It might sound familiar from the previous chord. It's the same note that our finger was on the previous chord. I call it an anchor note. So I recommend using the same finger when you go from the E minor 7 to this chord, which is a D over F sharp. If you use the ring, keep the ring there. If you use the pinky, keep the pinky there. And then we'll keep the 1st string open since we're on a D chord and that's tuned to a D. Next, we're going to go to that G bass note on the 3rd fret of string 6. And we're going to have string 5 muted. We're going to have string 4 with this note. Give yourself a chance to find that. That's the open 4th string. Then on string 3, we're going to have the following note. That is the open 3rd string. And then on the 2nd string, we're going to have a very cool note. We're going to have this note. Very unexpected note. And that is on the 2nd fret. And I'm using my pointer finger for that one. And I'm not bothering to strum string 1 on this one, although you could. You'd get a cool sound. It'd be kind of clashing with that note on the 2nd string. I'm just muting the 1st string though with my pointer finger. So this shape is a G sharp 11 with no 3rd either, because we're muting the 5th string. We're not playing a B on the 5th string like we do on a regular G chord. And we're also not playing the open B on the 2nd string. So this is a G add sharp 11, no 3rd. Sometimes the names get kind of crazy and it's easier to just go by the sound. So we've got E minor 7, D over F sharp, and then this G sharp 11. After we go to that G sharp sharp 11, you could go to a regular G power chord. So you put your first finger on the G now, and then the ring finger next, and then the pinky. So that's pointer on the 3rd fret, ring on the 5th fret, pinky on the 5th fret, middle finger on the 4th fret, and then leaving the first 2 strings open for a G chord. And then for the B minor 7, you can take this same shape, slide it to the 7th position. So that means your pointer finger is now on the 7th fret. The other fingers are spaced out the same as they were over here, except this would give us B major. So what we need to do is take the middle finger and tuck it to the left, which is a little bit stretchy, but it gives us this beautiful B minor 7th chord. Another option, if that's uncomfortable for you, is to use get rid of the middle finger and put the pointer finger on string 3 and use your thumb to play string 6 when you play this shape. I talk about this same shape in my lesson on Fix You by Coldplay, and there's a video of Chris Martin using these exact shapes in a live performance of that song. And he's in standard tuning though, with the first string still on an E for that live performance, and in the studio recording, his whole guitar is actually tuned down a half step. You can check out the other video if you want to know more about that. So we've got B minor 7 here with the open first 2 strings, and then you can take this chord, slide 2 frets to the left, and this one will be the major shape again with the middle finger in its own box on the 6th fret. Those shapes that I was just using there, those are going to show up again in the chorus now. Let's learn the bass line by ear first to the chorus though. So we're going to start on string 6, and here's our first bass note. Give yourself a chance to find that. That is on the 7th fret. The next bass note's also on string 6. Give yourself a chance on that one. That is on the 3rd fret. That's a G. And then it stays on that G for the next measure. And then we're going to stay on string 6, and we're going to move pretty high up string 6 to find this note. It means pretty far to the right. Give yourself a chance to find that one. That is on the 10th fret. That's a D. And then we're going to still stay on string 6, and we're going to go to this note. And that is on the 5th fret. That's an A. All right, let's put those bass notes together now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's put the chords onto those bass notes. So I already gave away what shape we're going to be using. It's going to look like a power chord. But when we're using a minor chord, the middle finger will need to be tucked to the left, or you can use the pointer finger on the 3rd string and use your thumb to grab the bass note. I prefer to do it this way, and then I leave those first 2 strings open. So we've got 1, 2, 3, then we slide down to the G on the 3rd fret, but make it the major shape by having the middle finger in its own box. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same major shape, slide up to the 10th position, 10th fret with the bass note. 2, 3, then we're going to go down to that 5th fret, same exact shape. And this gives us the A add 11, again, another way of playing A add 11. All right, let's play through the chords now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when I'm figuring out the strumming to the song, the first thing I always do is find where my foot wants to tap to the song, right? Then I start swinging my hand nice and loose. I call this the sticky hand. I don't want to move my arm like a robot. I want to just shake the hand out like this, a little bit of hook in the wrist, and then the hand shakes like that, so the hand feels weightless. I'm going to shake my hand with the foot. So in this case, my foot's tapping a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, about that speed. And my hand is swinging the same way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm listening to the song, and I'm listening for ta 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 ta. I'm listening for what rhythm I hear the guitar doing, and I'm saying it out loud, just like I just did, while swinging my hand in the air. That helps me figure out the downs and the ups more organically without having to always think about it or count it. Ta 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 taka taka ta 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 taka taka. And then whenever I want a sound to happen, I let my pick make contact with the strings. And when I don't want a sound to happen, my hand still keeps swinging, it just misses the strings. Down, down, up, down, down. down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's kind of roughly the idea. Then the second verse starts with 2 measures of no chord. So 2 measures of just listening or 2 measures of singing. And then we're going to come right in on our D major chord. Remember, instead of using the middle finger, we have to use the pinky on the first string. Because of the tuning, don't strum 5 or 6. And then we're going to go to that A add 11, just like on the first verse. And from there on, the second verse is the same as the first verse. So we go back to B minor 7, and then to G add 11. And then we go to D major, and then we go to A add 11, and that will repeat 1 extra time, and then we go on to the pre-chorus again. It's exactly the same as before. We've got that E minor 7, D over F sharp, G sharp 11. You can also play with this, going from the sharp 11 to the 5th of the chord with the ring finger on the second string. I might go... I'm playing it by myself, but in the original song that sharp 11 is just hanging out there. And then after the G sharp 11 goes to G add 9 again. We could do it this way, and then B minor 7, and then A add 11. So I'm giving this all away because we already learned this earlier. And then it goes to the chorus, and it just stays on the chorus for the whole rest of the song. It just stays on that B minor 7, G, D, A add 11, B minor 7, at 11, and then at the end I end on an up strum and I cover the string so that it cuts off cleanly right on beat 1. Alright, this part of the video is for those of you who wanted to skip ahead, who just wanted to learn the song as quickly as possible. We're going to do it more visually now. So we're going to start off with a B minor 7 chord with our pointer finger on the 5th string on the 2nd fret, ring finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string, then our pointer finger barring the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and the middle finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. And I'm not strumming string 6, I'm actually muting it with the tip of my pointer finger, and I'm not strumming string 1. Then after that B minor 7, I go to a G add 9 chord. That's going to have my middle finger on string 6 on the 3rd fret. I'm muting string 5, open string 4, pointer finger on string 3, that's the 9 that we're adding into the G chord. It's an A note added into a G chord. And then I'm going to put my ring finger on the 2nd string on the 3rd fret, and then we could strum the open 1st string as well. It's just doubling up that D on the 2nd string since it's tuned down to a D. So we've got B minor 7, G add 9, then we're going to go to a D major chord, but instead of using our regular D shape, we have to use our pinky on the 1st string on the 4th fret to compensate for that string being tuned down 2 frets lower than normal. You could use the ring finger on the 2nd string like you normally do on a D chord, or you could use the middle finger, whatever's more comfortable for you. And then after this D chord, which I'm not strumming string 5 or 6 on, by the way, we're going to go to A add 11. It's going to look like a regular old A major chord. Don't strum string 6, open string 5, pointer, middle, and ring on the 2nd fret, and the open 1st string. That open 1st string tuned down to a D is what allows us to play this A add 11 this way. And then the rhythm of that, we're going to have B minor 7 for 3 beats, 1, 2, 3, G add 9 on beat 4, and then for an extra measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, D major with that pinky on beat 1, 1, 2, 3, on beat 4 we go to A add 11, 4, 1, 2, 3, one more time, let's do it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, switch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the chords for the intro as well as the verse of the song, although on the intro there's a few pickup notes that happen first. And if you want to include that intro, it's a little tricky to get on the guitar, but you could use your pinky on string 5 on the 5th fret, ring finger on string 4 on the 4th fret, and then pointer finger on string 3 on the 2nd fret. And this is a little D major triad, kind of as like taking a C chord and sliding it over, but without a capo, so we have to reach over like this. You could play that one note at a time as an arpeggio, and then... So you could kind of include that intro on the guitar like that. But you could also just play the first 3 notes and then just go into the chords, or you could just start right in on the chords and not worry about the pickup notes. All right, next we have the pre-chorus of the song. We're going to start with an E minor 7. So we have open string 6, second fret of string 5 with the pointer finger, second fret of string 4 with the middle finger, open string 3, and you can use your ring or your pinky on string 2 on the 3rd fret, and then we have the open first string. So that's our E minor 7. And then I'm going to keep whichever finger I chose for that second string, leave it there as an anchor note, and I'm going to move my pointer finger up to string 6. I'm going to mute string 5, string 4 is open, the middle finger is going to hop down to string 3 on the 2nd fret. Going to leave the ring finger and the open first string. This is a D over F sharp chord, so E minor 7 to D over F sharp. Then the middle finger is going to go to G on the 3rd fret for the next chord, muting string 5, string 4 is open, string 3 is open, and string 2 is going to have the pointer finger on the 2nd fret. And that's a sharp 11 that you can hear in the background of the recording on the Justin Bieber version. And then I'm not strumming string 1 on this one, although you could if you want to create some tension there. Or you could do that by kind of hammering on your ring finger on the 2nd string, but I like to just let it hang because that's what happens in the original song. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it changes to the D over F sharp on the and of 2, and it changes to the G add sharp 11 on the downbeat of 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to go to a G add 9. You could use the same shape we used from the verse, but instead what I did in my cover of it, if you've seen that already, you can find that on my channel, is I played the G chord here using the same shapes we're going to use on the chorus. So I used my pointer finger on G, ring finger on the 5th string, 5th fret, making a power chord, pinky on the octave of the G, which looks like a power chord but skipping a string. So that pinky's on the 5th fret of string 4, middle finger on string 3 on the 4th fret, and then leaving the first 2 strings open. So there is our G chord there. And then we can take this same shape and slide it up to the 7th fret. So your pointer finger is on 7th fret, ring and pinky are both on the 9th fret. And then to make this minor, you have to take your middle finger and tuck it to the left, which is a little bit of a stretch. Tuck it to the 7th fret. And then we can leave the first 2 strings open. That's how I like to do this chord. Chris Martin from Coldplay uses this shape in Fix You. And you can use your pointer finger on string 3 to play it the way Chris Martin plays it, and use your thumb to play string 6. But for me, I prefer to just tuck that middle finger to the left. And then we have an A add 11. So we're going to take the same shape, slide it to the 5th position, but make it major again by having the middle finger in its own box on the 6th fret. And we get that A add 11. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're into the chorus of the song, which is going to use the same shapes as those last few chords there. It's going to start on B minor 7 on the 7th fret. We got our power chord, ring and pinky on the 9th fret. Then our middle finger on the 7th fret on the 3rd string. Open first 2 strings. We're going to leave the first 2 strings open for the whole chorus. So we've got B minor 7. Then we're going to slide down to the 3rd fret for our G major shape. Middle finger is on the 4th fret for this one. And then we're going to take our hand and slide it all the way up to the 10th fret for a D major. And then we're going to go to the 5th fret for an A add 11. So we've got this. That strumming pattern is down, miss, miss, up, miss, muted up strum, down on the next chord. Miss, miss, and then up, down, up, down, up. Down, up, miss, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Same thing on the next 2 chords. One of my tricks for making strumming patterns really come to life is to control which strings you're hitting. So I'm only really strumming the bass strings, the big strings, on the first strum of each chord. For the rest of the measure, I'm mostly emphasizing the smaller strings to get more of kind of a light, jangly tone, so it doesn't sound too heavy. If I were to strum all 6 strings on every down and every up strum, it would sound a little bit too heavy-handed. After the chorus, it goes on to the second verse, which starts with 2 measures of no guitar, 2 measures of just no chord, and then we come back in on the D major chord, but using that pinky again on the 4th string, since we're tuned with that first string down, and then we go to the A at 11, so it'd be like rest, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, A, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the verse continues just like the first verse, B minor 7, 1, 2, 3, G at 11, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, D major, 1, 2, 3, A at 11, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it repeats that. And then it goes to the pre-chorus, exactly the same as the first pre-chorus. And then the chorus is the same as the first chorus, except it just keeps repeating for the whole rest of the song. The very end of the song, we're on the A at 11, and I end like this, with an up strum, and then I cover all the strings by relaxing my left fingers and covering them like this. You could also cover with the right hand. And that cover happens right on beat 1. So it's like and 3 and 4 and cover right on beat 1. If this video was helpful for you, please consider hitting like and subscribe and sharing it with your friends. It really helps me out. And stay tuned for new content. Happy jamming!